That was it. Interesting read.
And so we also had this idea that during the next hearing, we were maybe gonna pass the process around a little bit. Is anybody game for that? Maybe we could do that for the second one tonight?
How about-
I thought we were pre-notifying for that,
Yeah.
giving people a heads up so we could get in that space and kind of get our.
Getting stonewalled.
I feel
That
like,
was the agreement.
I feel like the pre-notification has happened at the last 3 meetings. And then during the last,
The sections.
then during the last meeting, I handed them out and gave everybody a copy.
I have to.
And on that, I even broke it up into little teeny tiny pieces. So next time we have a hearing,
This is the
what we're
fourth
talking,
and final
Yeah.
morning.
what we're talking about, Jacob, is we have this is just, the sequence of events for a meeting that includes a hearing
Let's go.
and sort of the things that we go through. And
Applicant
we
is.
want,
Who's sitting in the car when I
we
pulled
want
up?
all the board
Okay.
members to sort of be able to know all the parts, because it's.
His survey.
it's kind of- And then for new board members, so that
There's a couple of people walked in
if
and
we
they
have
went
forward
downstairs.
turnover, like it's no secret that I'd like to do something. Then it's. So we have this, and
Make sure
I'm
that.
gonna.
I just chopped it up into different sections,
Channeling.
so that we could, while I'm sitting here, we could have like Andrea do the first couple items, like someone else do the next. Don't worry about it, but
It came.
that's what we're talking about. So I keep saying, all right, can we do it tonight? And everybody
Oh,
tells me,
I think.
I
just
have
the
a drama
traffic
up
plan
and
came
running.
in. I think that was all, and I.
Well, so for me, I have to be like, okay, you're gonna do A through D. And then I look,
Just-
and then I know coming in there, that's how my brain.
and just so you guys know, in this list, the items that I've given everybody are, they're just procedural items. I am still doing the site plan review and the conditional use review section. So not to take some of the pressure off. Yeah,
This is take a number, but can we drop that in there, print in your copy, do you know? Cause you get to take a number, right? And Brian,
oh,
yeah, I think Brian. For this number. I think so. I think last time was.
sorry, I think I saw that. So.
Do we have to put a number in to make it? There he is. Do we can start again?
Yeah.
I saw you on the parking lot, and I thought maybe you were just killing time.
He does need to put a number.
Yeah, the coin toss on that one. I mean, I lost on the Canadians last night, so.
Used to be.
Uh-oh.
I mean, the Canadians lost. I said, I stated.
Okay, number.
You don't?
Just been start.
Brian, are we recording?
We are recording.
Okay.
So I'll call the meeting to order. We, before we do introductions, we don't have a recording secretary anymore.
Correct.
So for meeting minutes tonight, Grace was gonna do them. Grace isn't here. So is that something that you can do post-meeting?
I
Or
can.
do you have the capacity to do that?
Well, it's like anything, it would just bump other things, but yeah, I can do it. If no one else is willing to do it, then I can.
In this case, I mean, I'll offer to the board, I can't run the meeting and take the minutes. So if someone else wants to run the meeting, I'll take the minutes.
What I would do is I'll just go off the recording.
And in this case, for these two, that might not be a bad idea, because you're gonna write both of these as a draft. So, so if you're willing, hearing no other volunteers,
Sure.
you get,
I can do it.
You get volunteer.
Perfect.
Thank you, Ryan.
and you let you let Brandon know that we don't have a reporting secretary and there's some process going.
It's
In-
been
in-
advertised.
In theory, it's advertised. I don't know where you've seen it.
I saw it
Where did I see it?
on the website.
Okay.
Hopefully they're doing more than that. It's on the town website.
Yeah.
So for introductions, let's see, I'm Todd, I'm the chair of the DRB. And what we could do is we just go around so that we know who's here, and then maybe also we have some people online, so shout them out. Maybe Brian. You just, Jacob
I'm
Chase,
Jacob Chase, I'm the alternate here tonight. Robert Beasy, first up. I'm Chris Urick, I work for the Mount Scottney Regional Commission representing the town of Springfield for the second hearing.
get comfortable. It's gonna be a while.
That's
If
all
you
right.
wanna go get a coffee or an ice cream cone, you can do that because it'll be a while.
Okay,
Okay, don't feel like you need to sit here. If you have something you wanna do, it's gonna be a while. And online,
Chris, you want to introduce yourself?
Chris Durantcuff with Chase and Chase Surveyors.
And he's with Rob
Chris.
Beasy.
Chris, what's his last name?
Durantcuff.
I'll get you the spelling.
Okay. Chris,
Okay, good.
Chris is a surveyor.
Yep.
Okay, and someone else there?
Roy?
Everyone, I'm Roy Schiff. I'm a water resource engineer with SLR Consulting. I'm here with Chris from the Regional Commission, working on the Springfield Reservoir Dam removal.
Brian Gumbart, Land Use Administrator.
Michael Cohen, board member.
Beth Hutton, board member.
Okay, so tonight on the agenda, we have one subdivision first for Robert, a final plat, and we have application for the dam removal. After that one, like I said, I think that will probably be an hour anyway, something like that. Then we'll look at our meeting minutes. I don't know that, I didn't look at them. Were they in a packet somewhere?
No, we didn't set, well, so they're just next to the agenda on the website.
Okay, so,
They were
so,
emailed.
okay, so I didn't look at them, but maybe we can do that. The rules of procedure. We're looking at protecting personal information. This is an item we just got on there based on Race's comments during the last meeting. We'll talk about site visit discussion. Or we'll talk about site visits when the board wants to do them. It's been confusing for Ryan. We haven't been clear, so we want to give him some clear directions so that he knows what the process is. And Ryan can give us an update on what the happenings. We'll talk about future agendas and then we'll adjourn. So I think possibly, this may run long, so if we're past 8:30 or so, we'll just bump some of these items. I'd like to have a regular meeting where we can do these, but we'll keep them on the agenda for now. And are there any comments from any citizens for items that aren't on the agenda? Ready? No? So I'll open the first hearing. Giving a warning. We have notice of public hearing tonight, May 26th, 6:30. This is application 25.1028.biz by Robert Dizzy for a 2-lot subdivision at 00 Mountain View Drive, parcel 090103.4. The application is here for final plat review. Okay. So you've been to a sketch plan review before?
Correct.
That was
That
in,
was downstairs today.
yeah, they just,
Coming back.
they just have another meeting right there. The sketch plan review is, it's not a hearing, it's sort of an informal, although it's formal, it's an informal time for you to present it and us to sort of look at it. And give you some feedback. We've already done that. Tonight might be a little bit repetitive for you and us because we already went through almost all of the exhibits. But that was sketch plan. The public didn't necessarily get a notice of it, so your butters wouldn't be notified. And so tonight, it's a little bit more formal, so we will go through all those exhibits again.
As long as I'm in the right place.
You're in the right place, yeah. And so we have, there's some process stuff that we're gonna zip through that we haven't done before. So at the time we get to where we want you to comment on the subdivision, I will point to you and say, tell us about it. So just hang out while we go through all the process to get there.
As long as our check is good, we're all right.
Okay,
Thank you.
we have one alternate member tonight. Jacob Chase is here in for Grace. Are there any conflicts of interest? That is, does anybody here? Does everyone here believe they can treat the applicant fairly? There's nothing that would conflict with that. Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Have there been any ex parte communications? And that is, has anybody talked to anybody about the details of this application or to the applicant or any of their representatives
No,
since its lifetime? Interested persons in this case are people who might abut your project, or you. And in this case, I think tonight, we don't have any abutters online. Have you received comments from any abutters?
No.
No. And so I think that you would be the only person who would be an interested person. If we give you that interested person status, that means you can appeal our decision. Because you're the applicant, you can appeal it anyway, but I'm gonna suggest to the board that we grant interested person status to the applicant. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Everybody, so you have interested person status. Just interestingly enough, so that you know, people who don't have interested person status, that is abutters who haven't come, can't appeal our decision.
Oh,
So it's a,
Citizens' rights.
the
title comes with.
it comes with rights, and in this case,
Or lack of title, lower.
yeah, if you stay for the next hearing, you'll probably see people say, I want interested person status. In this case,
This one or downstairs?
then this, we have two hearings here tonight. Downstairs is the select board.
Right.
They're different. They'll have all sorts of trouble down there, I'm sure.
That party.
So for this, just for this hearing, Ryan, will you be presenting any evidence maybe tonight?
Yeah.
And is it Chris online?
Yes.
Yep. And so if the three of you would listen to this statement and then affirm if you would abide by it. I hereby affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes.
I do.
So Ryan, can you give us a summary of where the application stands?
Sure, so we've completed sketch plan review. We've warned this hearing for a final plat review. It's a 2-lot subdivision of a 10.3 acre lot. The property is in the conservation C10 district, and it invokes the clause in that district where when the zoning maps changed in 1994, they retained the ability for people whose property that changed from 3 acre to 10 acre, the ability to do one-time subdivision. And this property meets those qualifications for that.
And then exhibits,
We
we have some new ones maybe.
Yeah, so recently I received updated maps, there's a final plat that's in the packet would be item. Oh, no, it's not loading. The last two items, there's gonna be a new final plat and a wetland map. Those are the new ones. Everything else was sent out.
Okay,
What-
I think I have the little teeny tiny ones.
Me too.
We were hoping for some big ones tonight.
Me too.
They sent in big maps of the earlier versions that are also in this packet. Are those relevant, or do you not want to use those? Those have major things changed on that?
I prefer.
The only changes, the only changes were those two small tweaks we discussed the end of last week.
Materially, they're the same. Should we just use those and then know that there are a
I-
couple?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think it'd be really good because there's a lot of information there and it's really hard on these little pieces of paper. And ordinarily we have, we have little devices we can zoom in and out of, but tonight the select board, who's more important? They have,
They overruled it.
yes. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the exhibits that I think we have. And then. But what I'd sort of like to do with these exhibits is I'd like to take the two maps that are there that are old and supersede those with the new exhibits. I just want to make sure when we're doing this and we're writing this up, that the two sheets that we have that are new supersede the two sheets in here. So I'm gonna say it how I think it should go, and then tell me if I'm doing it correctly. Okay. So I'm gonna just read these exhibits off real fast. If any of them don't seem familiar to you, let me know, but it's all in the packet.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, okay. Item one, or exhibit, if I say item, I mean exhibit. Exhibit one is the hearing notice, that's one page. Exhibit two is a administrative summary, it's one page. Exhibit three is the application, that's 5 pages. Exhibit four is a letter from the surveyor. That's 1 page. Exhibit five is final plat and plans. There are 7 of those. 2 of which we're gonna supersede with exhibits 18 and 19, so stay tuned. Exhibit 6 is administrative review. There's 5 pages that the land use administrator has filled out. Exhibit 7 is a sketch plan review checklist, 2 pages that the DRB provided to the applicant. Exhibit 8 is a sketch plan review discussion sheet, similarly, and at the same time, there are 2 pages the DRB filled out and passed along to the applicant. We have exhibit 9 is stormwater analysis. There's 35 pages. Exhibit 10, highway access permit notes from Ray Stapleton. There's 2 pages. Exhibit 11 is an email regarding the town road discontinuance. That's 1 page. Exhibit 12 are some legal exhibits. There's 2 pages. Exhibit 13 are 1986 Planning Commission minutes. There's 6 pages. Exhibit 14 is a pre-1994 zoning map. That's 1 page. Exhibit 15 is a 1990 warranty deed. There are 2 pages. Exhibit 16 are permit navigator results. There's 12 pages. Exhibit 17, community facility project review sheet. It's 1 page. Exhibit 18 is a revised final plat. Exhibit 19 is a wetlands site plan. So for those exhibits, I'm gonna note that Exhibit 18, the revised final plat, it's drawing number ends in 63A. That's the first drawing in the old group. So we want to make sure that the new 63A is the only one that we look at. And then exhibit 19 is the overall wetland site plan. And that one in the new packet, it is it drawing number ... 63K. So we want to make sure that the K exhibit out of the original packet is superseded. And that will be, all the drawings now, we can refer to them. All the same. Okay, are there any other exhibits?
That's it.
Okay. So now's the time, Robert and Chris, where you can you can present the application to us. Probably, but it's better one at a time. And we have all the exhibits. So tonight it's best to fill us in terms of we gave you these site plan review checklists, sort of things like, hey, this is what we want to make sure we have. So to the extent that there's any questions or you're deviated from them, make sure you tell us about that. Okay, so now is when we hand it to you and you can describe your application. You did this before and I have to do it again.
Okay, my name is Robert Paisley. I owned the property since 1990. I was interested in putting in a driveway onto the premises, at which time, when I looked into it, I was told that I could possibly subdivide it due to the time that I owned the property. So after looking and talking to my son, we decided that that's something that we would like to pursue. And it's kind of led it because of just wanting to put the driveway. So if we can accomplish putting the subdivision in to give me something to potentially give him in the future down the road, then that would be something that I would like to accomplish.
Can you tell us about the road easements and such that we have quite a few exhibits talking about whether the road is actually a road or isn't a road? Do you know about that?
I am not that familiar with the actual like the town road. When I leased the property for 3 years before I bought it. And at that time, it was access for the property I had and the property next to mine, 596.
Okay.
I think it's 965, something like that. So my impression was that it was always either owned by the town in some way, shape, or form.
Let's put a pin in that and we'll have, maybe Chris can fill us in. Tell us about what are you gonna do with that second lot? What were your
I don't
thoughts?
have any, I just wanted to see if I could just pursue dividing it into half at some point, possibly, possibly.
Yeah.
Or might keep it all for myself.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So does anybody else have any questions for Robert?
I think I understand.
Yeah. Chris, could you fill us in on the right of way?
Sure. It seems, upon submittal of our application for a curb cut, your road guy was aware that wasn't a town highway up that far. So we did a bunch of digging and we came up with the help of the people at the state highway mapping section at VTrans, we were able to come up with a copy of the discontinuance from, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it was 63. So that road north of the farmhouse that was the primary residence on the property that was subdivided in 1986, the farm, of which Bob's property was a part, that's where the town road ends. So this road that extends up to the point of discontinuance is it's unclear as to who owns the underlying fee. But it's referred to in all the deeds to the 4 properties served by it as Mountain View Drive Extension. Couldn't find anything in the record from 1986 that indicated what the intention was, whether it be that plat or in the planning commission minutes or anything. So functionally, it's a private road that serves 4 properties, and not a town highway. Consequently, the town hasn't issued an access permit to get onto it because they don't have jurisdiction over it.
Is it plowed?
Who maintains it?
I would presume the guy passed me.
You're gonna find out probably pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the town doesn't.
Not in the summer, though.
Yeah, he's gonna ask you for diesel fuel.
So Chris, it's your opinion that there's legal access to this parcel on that right of way?
Yeah, I think the way the deeds are all structured, there's no question. There's no question that it exists. It's simply not as clean and as express as anybody would have preferred. But it's clear by virtue of the way the plat is drawn that the old road corridor was a 50-foot wide, was reserved as a 50-foot wide easement to provide access to those 4 lots beyond the end of the town road.
Do you guys have anything else you want to add before we just keep rolling? And we'll get to all the exhibits, so we'll have more questions. So if it's all right with you guys, I'll just keep moving forward. You want to ask any specific questions now? We'll get to the exhibits. We didn't have any questions or comments written that came in. So if we go, I'm gonna go through the exhibits that I'm interested in. And Ryan points out in his letter that we have one finding that we'll need to make regarding this subdivision sort of being covered by the RR35 district, even though it's in the C10. Is that
That's 15, right?
I was just reading his letter summary. I'm only at I'm just getting to, I'm at exhibit 4. We just taught, exhibit 4 is Chris's letter where he sort of summarizes
Mhm.
the access. I don't have any questions about that. But exhibits 5, group 5 are all the survey plats. And the first one is this, oh God, I can't read it now. 63A, the 63A one, this one's superseded by the new 63A. But this is the subdivision boundary map. The second drawing is shows the resources and restrictions. We had asked during our sketch plan review that the areas where we couldn't develop be identified. And so there's a building envelope on this one for lot 2. The wetlands shown. The question I had about this one is, do we know, are any of the slopes on lot 2, are any of them greater than 25%?
No, there's no We ran a slope analysis and there isn't anything actually over 20% on the upper part. The only steep part is down near the road. It's over the 25% is down near the road.
Okay. We have the next one, there's two that are the stormwater exhibits. First one is sort of the stormwater improvements down at the bottom of the road. And then it's connected to Plan B, which shows the driveway going up the hill, how the stormwater system works. The next exhibits are some details for the stormwater system and conveyances. The next exhibit is their erosion control plan. This is the construction process. And then the next exhibit are the detailed notes that go with that. The next exhibit is called overall wetlands site plan, and I think on this one, they're just identified. The next exhibit is the wetlands impact plan, and this shows sort of the beginnings of what I imagine will be your wetlands permit application. It shows where we're impacting the wetland directly. That's where they're going to fill it. And it shows the buffer impacts. That's the 50 feet past them, and they're quantified here. Does anybody have any questions about the maps? Exhibit 6 is checklist. I'm not quite sure, Ryan, is this one that you filled? You just checked that off?
Right,
Okay, so this is.
that was my most recent,
So, yeah,
we do it there, yeah.
okay. And in this, Brian's pointing out that the right of ways are shown. And do we have somewhere in those documents, this maintenance agreement?
I don't think there is one.
Okay. Okay. So I think that why I say you'll hear about it soon is the board will decide whether we think you have legal access or not based on the exhibits, but you're not going to find us trying to work out with your neighbors who's going to pay for plowing. Because that ship is left when they made that existing subdivision. I think that's my opinion. And if anybody else wants to dig into maintenance agreements, we would for a new subdivision. Exhibit 7, this is our subdivision checklist. So as I look down through here for lot 2, we asked for what I think is we wanted preliminary feasibility plans. And that was to basically show us what the slope was, what sensitive areas were there, and where you might put it. Where you might put a development envelope, just so we could see, oh yes, you can get to it. And we meet most of the bylaws. I see the exhibits that show those items. The next item on the list was to fix or show the roads that they do not connect. They did that. He did that. Chris did that on the revised exhibit. The highway access permit we asked for, we'll get to an exhibit where Ray says, I'm not going to give you one because it's not a town highway. Okay. For my part, what I was curious about, and we had asked to be provided, the total impervious area that you're going to have when you develop both the lots. Do you have that number, Chris?
That's actually included on the subdivision survey sheet 2 of 2, which would be the second plan of your exhibit 6 plans, exhibit 5 plans, plats and plans. And you'll note in the development restrictions, that's addressed. So we've apportioned the impervious surface budgets out between the two lots in a manner that stays below the state threshold to trigger a state stormwater permit. With this approach, if ultimately sometime in the future, one owner or the other decides to develop the parcel in a manner that exceeds those thresholds, of course, because most of what we've put on the plan is speculative at this point and not a, not a essentially a building permit plan per se. But if either owner chooses to develop beyond in a manner that exceeds those thresholds, they'll have to pursue their own state stormwater discharge permit to get there. But as it stands, what you see in front of you is it includes sufficient footprint that is within the threshold provided by the state, within the half acre.
Okay, and that's with 12-foot wide roads going to each place?
Yep, and a turnaround up at the upper house, which we haven't detailed it, but it does include that, a turnaround similar to what you see on lot 1. And the buildings as you see.
So for the subdivision checklist, does anybody else have any items that they wanted to talk about?
I don't have any other items.
Go ahead.
I couldn't hear you two were talking at the same time. So I actually didn't hear what you said. Chris.
Which part?
Well, at the beginning, when he was trying to, maybe everybody else heard him, I couldn't hear. I
The stormwater, or the management, the threshold.
You were talking at the same time and I couldn't hear what you said.
Okay, I didn't realize we were.
Yeah, I don't think you can hear Todd, so it's okay. So if you wouldn't mind repeating it, I have from my notes from the sketch plan review that the impervious area was 78,000 feet.
No, you have the disturbed footprint for lot 1. The distinction between earth disturbance for the purposes of a construction stormwater permit is different from impervious surface for the purposes of an operational stormwater permit. So the footprint of the development for lot 1 certainly exceeds the 1 acre threshold for a construction stormwater permit. The development of lot 1 will require a state construction stormwater permit. The budgets for impervious surfaces, being roofs, driveways, hard surfaces, have been established as, what do we have? So we've got 10,200 square feet for lot 1 and 11,500 square feet for lot 2 that we have budgeted, such that the total footprint, the total impervious footprint for the projects stays below the half acre state threshold for an operational permit.
Okay, thank you for repeating
So,
that.
and to reiterate, then, so therefore, in the future, if somebody wants to develop the lots, a future owner wants to develop lots in a more grand fashion, they would have to go and seek out their own operational stormwater permit from the state.
And in exhibit 8, we had asked to make sure that we had, if you wanted to potentially build on the second lot, a building envelope, showing that it was outside the power easement, and right away for access and utility easements. Does the survey have, is the easement as it's identified over lot 1? Does that include utilities?
Yes, yeah. Yeah. I've reached out to GMP on a couple of occasions. I was hoping to do something informally, to work through what the services, just the electrical service would look like up through there. We need to confirm that what GMP wants to do isn't going to, is going to stay within the disturbance footprint for the wetlands down at the bottom. They apparently have a very formalized process now, and we're going to have to engage them in that formal process to get final answers. But one way or the other, it will go up along the road within that corridor. Whether it will be underground or overhead is yet to be determined.
On the survey map though, now to benefit lot 2, you have an access and utility easement.
Correct.
Ryan, are there any other habitat areas that you're aware of that showed up in the?
No, on my list of things to check. Which would be deer wintering areas, rare and endangered species, and biological natural areas.
Okay. Exhibit 9 is the stormwater analysis. It's really interesting stuff. I enjoyed reading it. Does anybody have any comments?
You make me chuckle that you enjoyed reading that stuff.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I can say for my part, it makes life and for your applicant so much easier when you have a stormwater plan. So
By design.
for that part, I
By
can say,
design, by the way.
what's that?
I had that prepared specifically for you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
it looks good. Thank you. Exhibit 10 is a highway access permit application. And I believe the conclusion of it is, I don't know whose handwriting that is, but not on the town of Weathersfield right of way. Is that?
That's right. That's
Ray.
right.
Ray, handwriting.
Okay, Ray says.
Great.
Okay. Exhibit 11 is, I think this maybe is expanding on, whether there's what the status of the right of way is. Exhibit 12 is some deeds similarly on those lines. 13 are planning commission notes, similarly talking about that access. Exhibit 14 is the map showing what the zoning was before. Okay. Exhibit 15.
My computer's trying to catch up.
Okay.
Okay.
This is just your deed, I think. Am I?
Correct, to show that he's owned it for, since before 1994.
Exhibit 16 or the permit navigator result. Ryan, you did this for.
I think I probably did this.
Okay, so you know that you probably need a construction stormwater discharge permit. You know it, you already have exhibits for it. So when it's time to do your construction, get that paperwork in. That doesn't go to us. We don't have anything to do with it, but you've got the documents all for it. The wastewater system and potable water supply permit. And I think you said that was under works, or what's the status of that one?
It's fully designed and ready for submittal, but we're waiting to get through your process to know that we're submitting for a septic system on a 5.01 acre lot instead of a septic system on a 10.3 acre lot. So it's all designed, everything is all set to go, just as soon as we're done with this process.
Okay. And, the wetlands permit,
And a wetlands permit, yep.
yep, you're in the
Yep.
process of putting that one
Ye-
together?
Yes, our wetland specialist, Brad Wheeler, has done the delineation. We believe the plan set you have in front of you is going to be what's going to get submitted with it. Brad has had the state wetland specialist responsible for this area on site, and she agreed on site for the location of the drive as we've shown it. And it should be, it's the turnaround is slow, but we don't see any roadblocks here. And would anticipate that you folks might condition. I think I addressed that in my cover letter, hoping for the conditioning your approval on the receipt of these other permits before a building permit is issued.
Exhibit 17 is a new updated community facility project review sheet, and we have all on one page now, the proposed project. All the personnel here reporting that they'll have no impact or no concerns. Exhibit 18 and 19 are the updated maps, and I couldn't tell the difference. What's the difference on 18? This is your 83A. What's different on that one?
Literally only, if you look right directly over the title block, there's a little note there that says see sheet 2 for more information.
Yeah.
The original one said see sheet 2 and 3. I was planning on having this plat broken into 3 sheets, the third sheet being a profile of the driveway up in there, and then realized that it's not something that came out of the conceptual review checklist, so I didn't burden you with any more paper.
Okay.
And
Thank you so much for reading the checklist.
well, it's nice to have a roadmap for a change.
Yeah. I swear I'm with you. It makes it easier, like having been on the other end of this. But you did it, so congratulations. And then we had the exhibit 19, and I think the difference with that is on the site plan, you just show that the road isn't continuous through there, right?
On the location map, correct. I missed that on the first time through. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions or comments so far? We're getting close to the end, so don't hold anything back if you do have some questions. Always you'll send me downstairs.
The only question or comment I would say is that, if you saw the governor's made comments that he's gonna change the wetland requirements, potentially bringing him into 25 feet instead of 50. So I don't know how we'll have to look at that, because by the time our approval is that will be then the new temporary, I don't know if it's temporary or permanent requirements, so I would just add that, just to note that could, I don't know if that'll impact.
Right, in this case, the buffer would be reduced.
Is
Is
what
that what
they're
you-
looking at,
okay.
yes, the development buffer, they're thinking of cutting it in half. And that just came out a few days ago, so.
So that's might save you a few bucks on the application.
That would be on your
Right.
right, don't hold your breath.
That's fine. I'm gonna wait for the plow guy,
Yeah.
so.
Well, we have,
Peter and Paul.
we have in the past and up until now used the state regulations to provide the protections that we want. And they're conceptually, there could come a point where they disappear. And we would then be wanting to have our own, because our bylaws say there are protections. And we just, this has sort of come up on a larger scale thinking, because we had that also the federal permits had historically been the same for wetlands, and they are no longer that way. So we don't have any federal protections of these wetlands anymore. And we still have the state for now, so we'll go with that.
But it's designed for 50
Right,
feet,
it's,
so they're
yeah,
good.
they'll have the minimum.
And then the only sort of thinking about you getting your permit, when you come about to like do your building permit, get Ryan as part of the application, whatever your light, whatever you want for lights. Because we have lighting requirements now.
I was reading about that, dark sky technology.
Yeah, just for residential properties, it's really straightforward. You're just picking fixtures. That's all. I think that was the only thing we didn't really talk about so far was outdoor lighting.
My son and I were talking about it. He's involved in public service at home in Connecticut, and they are looking into a lot of that kind of.
I mean, we want you to have as much light as
Yeah.
you want.
Oh, he likes the whole concept and everything, so I'm letting the younger generation.
The lighting
Their plug,
requirements,
is it a 2-prong or 3-prong?
yeah. I mean, we want you to have as much light as you want.
Of course.
The development review board only gets involved when you're shooting it off your property or into people's eyes.
There's no necessity.
Yeah.
You can see where you can drive and walk, and you know.
Does anybody else have any questions for the? We have compatibility with surrounding development, traffic, protection of natural resources, stormwater, landscaping and screening. The capacity and then conditional use review, we have the capacity of the existing or planned community facilities, having undue adverse impact, the character of the area or traffic. As well as we don't have any special provisions that apply. We've talked about the general ones that would. Is there anything else that we want to cover that we don't from some of the exhibits? Don't everybody call out at once. Okay. Last time for questions. Anybody have any questions? I think that I would entertain a motion to close the hearing.
And before we close, I
Yes,
just want to
please.
reiterate that these were fantastic. These.
Plans.
Yeah, the plans were they were nice, easy to read.
I will,
It was enjoyable, so I just appreciate that. And I just
I
like
will,
to say
Chris,
thank you.
Greg, the guys at Chase and Chase, and the guys at Watershed Consultants, and also Brad Wheeler Environmental are the guys who put this whole package together
Yeah.
for you ladies and gentlemen.
Just appreciate all the information. And your-
I very much appreciate you guys taking the time, and I very much appreciate the people I had working on my project, the work they do, and to make it as easy as we can for you guys also to do your job.
and I'll reiterate what Andrew just said. When we have plans and someone's looked at the bylaws and done them, it makes tonight so quick. And presuming everything moves forward, the hearing is very, very short. And the decision will take less time. And also, almost every subdivision application that we've done, we've had to continue. And continue, and it petered out to nothing or whatever. So I certainly appreciate the effort. And from my standpoint, it certainly makes it easier for us
Thank you. Like I said, Chris and the guys, Andre is over at Watershed, and again, Brad Wheeler, the three people that I look to for all of this. I'm just,
Good job, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, glad we could, glad we could get you what you needed.
Okay, now-
I'll make a motion to close the hearing. Is that what you're waiting for?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll take it.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, so, the hearing is closed. Now, we're done. That's it. The next thing will be, we will get you a decision. And that should be within 45 days. Oh, I always say hopefully sooner, but not necessarily.
45 is the,
That's the limit.
oh, that's sure,
And
stated, that is stated.
at that time, there'll be some conditions that you look in there, you want to reach out to Ryan. Like, for example, what?
Is Chris still on?
Yeah,
Chris,
You know, as
Oh,
long as he's listening.
Yeah.
That guy, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, I didn't know if he.
That's okay.
He's over.
That's okay. There's just like some paperwork things that have to take place now and some confirmations, mostly presuming that we find that everything is good.
Understood.
Then we want to make sure that the pins are all set, including the new subdivision pins, and that we have the Mylars or whatever.
Pins were done at one point, you guys came back to paint,
Yes,
to paint them, and you did the pins for the subdivision because, yeah. So they were already they were actually painted, and then they made sure that all the pins were also set. I think you guys went back a second time.
yeah, we took, as long as we had to be there on site to do some other mapping, additional mapping, we went ahead and set the pins instead of making another round trip down.
Yeah, and you did the painting too at that time.
Took less time.
Paint, yeah.
Okay, so the hearing already closed. So you heard that.
Mhm.
So now we know that,
Yeah.
because the zoning
Yeah.
administrator can
And I have
take that information and file it. And then, once we have a decision, then Ryan can coordinate with the surveyor about what we want to actually have for the exhibits in Mylar form. And do you know what the answer to that is? Would they Mylar 7 sheets?
I think not normally. I've seen some where there's been 2 sheets that were both Mylar.
Yeah.
Normally it's just the final plat. And then in the zoning file, it was everything else.
So I'll put a note here. What I'm gonna say is we're gonna presume that it's the first 2 sheets there. That's A and B. And then, but we'll look at that, and if it's different, we'll put it in the conditions.
That was certainly my intent. They've been prepared so they can be plotted on that native scale on 18 by 24 Mylar for recording, the first 2.
All right. Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Talk to you later, Bob.
All right, buddy.
I think so.
Stuff on the-
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Do you have full-size plans for the next hearing?
I signed in downstairs, I just signed up.
Let's see what we have here. Okay, so what we should do is say yes, and then,
I have his address.
okay.
Okay.
People who sign in and are and participated or are interested persons get a copy of the decision. So, we want to make, you got,
I have his address.
yes, you have his and everybody else's, Chris's. You have this Chris's information?
Yeah, but we didn't make him interested.
Yeah.
Because the minutes are up to.
Okay. I signed you in.
Thank you so much. Do you need me any?
No.
Oh, okay, thank you so much for your time this evening.
All right,
Thank
be in
you.
touch.
And I'm sorry I got mixed up in the
No
wrong
worries.
meeting and was a little late.
Not a problem.
So we can do a final plat in 50 minutes.
Good to know.
Wow.
We could probably do it in 35.
Very good, really nice.
I just mean, it can be done. And there were a lot of pages here. You know, we probably could have the stormwater analysis.
So just as a quick aside, before we start the other hearing, is it, because I'll forget later on, thinking about the main sheet, the public hearing thing, how did you get that to print without the background? Because mine's wanting to print the ink on the background for the list.
It does that, it prints the ink. That's
So
another thing.
It's, yeah, if it's possible, because I'd really like to have that front page, but it takes up so much ink, but yes.
So my vote would also be
Yes.
just 2 pages, don't put the bright colored things
Because
in
it
there.
kills my toner, so I haven't been printing them, but I really like to make notes on them,
I agree.
so.
Procedurally,
So make them white. That's
Yes, yeah, so I can
Okay.
print them now.
okay.
I saw you writing around.
no, I can't binge.
So this one's about the demo.
Yeah.
Feel free to scroll through, because I've gone through this one.
Okay, so now the next item on our agenda is another public hearing. So in exhibit 20, I'm gonna open the hearing. And I'm gonna read the warning. The note, this is a notice of public hearing tonight, May 26th. Now it's 7:36 p.m. We have application 260225.YUR by Chris Urich for the renewal of permit 220930 CU 1 for dam removal at 00 Wellwood Orchard Road. Parcel 12-00482. This application requires conditional use review, site plan review, and flood hazard review. So for introductions, we've already done them, but we have a little change, a little switch around here. That we lost one of our development review board members. And we don't have anybody new online?
Correct.
Okay. It's Roy.
Yes.
Okay.
Just Roy,
Yes.
I think the MTL town manager was trying to get in.
No, Roy, what was your last name? Roy.
It's Schiff, SCHIFF.
Be listening to the select board meeting unintentionally.
Let's see if I.
I just shot him the Teams link he sent us earlier today.
Okay.
So ordinarily, I review the order of events with everybody, but you just sat through one. The whole thing. So this one's we're gonna go through that, everything in the exact same order, fresh. Yes, we're gonna go through the same process, right? We have, again, for this hearing, we have Jacob, who's an alternate sitting in for Grace. And tell me about who isn't here for this hearing. Who is not
I'm not here for the hearing.
okay, so
I'm-
tell me now. And we'll put it in
My
here.
name is Beth Hunton and I want to be an interested person.
Okay, So you're not sitting on the board. You're recusing. For the board members here, are there any conflicts of interest?
No.
No.
Has anyone had any ex parte communications? For interested person status, we have, I think in this case, we have the applicant, Chris. You would be the only, so far, you're, you would qualify for an interested person status. Roy, probably not. You're not the applicant, right? And is there anyone else in the audience that would like interested person status? Beth Hunton? Beth? Do you know an interested person is someone who, let's see. Are you in a butter?
I'm not in a butter. But I could be financially impacted because I have a half mile Peabody Stream on my property.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think you are a person owning or occupying property in the immediate neighborhood, which is the subject of this application, that you can demonstrate your interest under any of the criteria that we're going to review? And so do you think that you meet that definition?
I do. I'm one property parcel away. Yeah. I'm upstream,
One parcel away, upstream, you're on the same stream.
Peabody Brook. Yeah. It actually it's originates on our property.
Okay, so I think you own or occupy property in the immediate neighborhood. Okay, so my suggestion would be that we grant interested person status to Beth Hunton and to Chris Urick. Anybody have any other thoughts?
Did you remember? Was Roy Kennison,
I don't think Roy gets it.
is he testifying?
Yeah, was it last time
No?
for the hearing?
Okay, got you, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, all those in favor of giving interested person status to Beth Hunton and Chris Urick?
Yes,
Aye.
I,
And we could skip ahead to that swearing in part. It's a good timing as any. So, this time, Chris, Roy, Andrea, and Ryan.
was that?
You said Andrea.
Chris, Roy,
That's why I was what?
Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah.
Gotcha. Busy. And Roy. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll postpone the swearing in, because Ryan's out.
So you went through conflicts of interest, but I was looking at the application and I remembered, I didn't write it down, but the applicant's name is on this application was, this, I didn't see the new application, was Jeff Lopez. So if you know him and was working with him for, well, as the landowner, so I didn't know if that included that, but not in relation to this land in any shape or form, but that person is the landowner. So I just wanted to say we worked together
Okay,
well, but not directly with the land. So I didn't know if that was something that needed to be pointed out because we were working in a committee together that was different as a nonprofit. Do you see what I'm saying?
I don't. I've been
So I
completely going over my head.
So I didn't know if we worked with any of these parties in any capacity as a conflict or just relating to this land use.
So I think it's for this application.
Okay.
Like,
So-
the question is like, I've worked for the town of Springfield. Could that potentially be a conflict of interest? It could, like, if they owed me a bunch of money or something,
Well, and that's.
So I would say-
You mentioned it, but it does not impact my decision process or not. I just wanted to point.
I think that's probably a really good point, and it hadn't even occurred to me, because nothing in my mind like came up.
Yes, we were in the Rotary together, but during this time period, so I just wanted to,
Do you,
but not.
do you think I think I can be fair.
Absolutely,
Do you think you can be fair?
absolutely.
So I don't think we have a conflict of interest. Does anybody have any concerns about conflict of interest? Andrea, having formerly been on Rotary member with, was it with Jeff?
Mhm.
Who's not the town manager anymore?
Who's not the town manager, but still during this application. period.
Springfield doesn't owe me any money right now. So I feel confident. Okay, that's good. That's great. That's why we talk about it, because sometimes things come up. I mean,
Sure.
so now that you're back, we wanted to swear in Beth, Ryan, Roy, and Chris. Okay, so would you all follow me and let me know if you can affirm the following? I hereby affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes.
Roy? I'm pointing
Yes.
at you.
Yes.
So, Ryan, if you want to give us a summary of the application, and then maybe in the context of sort of how we're looking at this, what we're looking at,
Mhm.
because we have a big application. The Development Review Board has already, and you, have already spent a lot of time on it. So I'd like us to give a little bit of thought as we blunder into this, what it is we're doing tonight.
So the permit that was issued in 2022 was, had a condition that it would expire in the fall of 2025 if it hadn't been completed. And that happened. So since then, we've been having conversations about continuing that or extending that end date. And so this application is essentially to renew that permit, extend that deadline, and then they wanted to address some of the conditions that were part of that decision at that time. So what you'll see in the packet is all of the exhibits from the previous hearing, in the number that they were given in that hearing according to the minutes. And then there's a set of new exhibits, 19 through 27, starting with the written decision from the prior hearing.
And I don't know the appropriate time, but I do think there are a few documents that aren't listed in the packet that maybe could be submitted as exhibits, arguably should be.
So let's get to those in a minute. So the next thing we're doing is recording exhibits. So I'm gonna go through this exhibit list. Was that it, Brian? Were you done?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through this exhibit and I'm gonna make the first one quick. So I'm gonna make exhibit 1, the original packet, items 1, exhibits 1 through 18. And then I'm gonna make I'm just gonna skip. So this hearing is gonna have exhibit 1. And then we're gonna go right to 19.
On that, just for clarity, in the minutes, it skips item 16. So you'll see on that list, it says none. In the minutes, it goes from 15 to 17. So that's why that's like that.
Okay, great. Good catch. Exhibit 19 is the 22 zoning board decision. There's 14 pages. Exhibit 20 is the notice of public hearing. That's 1 page. Exhibit 21 is the 2026 administrative summary. That's 1 page. Exhibit 22 is the zoning permit renewal request. There's 3 pages of emails and a fee payment. Exhibit 23 is SLR memo from Roy from February. That's 2 pages. Exhibit 24 is the project final design plans. There's 8 sheets. Exhibit 25 is a historic resources documentation package. There's 52 pages. Exhibit 26 is a community facility review. And that's 1 page. That's new, updated. Okay, those are all the exhibits that we have. What do you have that's new?
Was there also, I think the final exhibit in the package, the traffic control plan, no?
No,
You didn't have that one?
Yeah, I have.
okay,
I can print that off. That came out today. 4 pages.
okay, let's have it.
Do you have a copy of that, or I can print it off?
I actually do have a copy, I can just.
But if you want to look at it, I can.
I don't.
Okay,
think I
so-
don't need to.
So 27 is the traffic control plan or narrative.
Structured traffic control.
Here.
Can I have this copy?
Yes, Ken, yeah,
Okay,
and then if you're ready, I'll give you a few more exhibits.
almost. This is.
And that's
four
not
pages.
on the email. That was not on the email.
It wasn't in the one I printed out, but
That was in the one that was sent out this afternoon.
okay,
Yes, that's.
4 pages. Okay, I'm ready.
This is our state stream alteration general permit.
Okay, 28. Stream alteration. Permit. 1 page. Okay,
This is an emailed allowed use determination from the Vermont Wetlands Program.
okay, that is exhibit 29 is an email from Wetlands Division regarding allowed use, 1 page. One. Okay,
This is a section 404 dredge and fill permit from the United States Army Corps of Engineers.
does this have all the exact same exhibits? As this has the same drawings as we were.
Yes, those are the same final plans, yep. They just attach into the general permit.
13 pages.
It's 30.
30. Okay,
And that's a signed access agreement from the one abutting landowner that will be accessing their land.
the Phelps were here, right, during the last hearing.
Right.
Okay, so this is Exhibit 31. This is, right. This agreement. Phelps. 2 pages. Okay. 31. Anything else?
I think that's all I got.
So at this time, this is when I'll turn it over to you guys. And you can describe the project and then what's new, what's transpired, and do take an extra few minutes to describe the project because the board members, besides myself, are new. So we might not tackle every criteria, but it's gonna be really good if you just like help us understand what the project involves. And then we'll go through the exhibits and look at anything specific.
All right, so for those that are aware, the Springfield Reservoir Dam is located off of Wellwood Orchard Road. It's in Weathersfield here, but it's owned by the town of Springfield. It was constructed in the early 1900s to serve as a municipal water supply for Springfield. And it was largely phased out. They transitioned to using the well fields in North Springfield, and it hasn't been used as a public water supply since, I believe, something around the late 70s. The infrastructure that connects it to the municipal water supply in Springfield has deteriorated. It's not really needed. They have plenty of municipal water capacity in their existing system. And so the dam's kind of just been sitting there for the last few decades. There's really no functional purpose. The structural condition's been deteriorating. The Vermont Dam Safety Program of DEC has determined it to be a significant hazard structure in poor condition. And so it's being removed as both an ecological restoration project and a public safety project. Roy, do you want to go into any of any 10,000-foot questions about the project before we get into detail?
Well, I feel like I have a good feel for the project.
Yeah.
The dam structure is gonna be removed. And you're gonna be removing a lot of material.
Well,
When we say-
sediment.
When you say, okay, so that's another thing that we're gonna talk about tonight. So give us the skinny there.
I
What do you-
believe,
How much is going and where are you putting it?
Roy, correct me if I'm wrong, and if you have any of the quantities in front of you, I believe we're removing 67% of the impounded sediment, which equates to how much? Do you have that number in front of you?
Yeah, we're removing, let's see, the dam itself has 26,000 cubic yards of earthen fill that's getting removed, 1,600 cubic yards of concrete, plus 150 cubic yards of the spillway that's in disrepair right now, plus the gatehouses and pipes. You see that, you can see some of them, and there's some of them pass under the dam. And then in addition, we are going to remove 9,000 cubic yards of the fine silty sediment that extends up into the impoundment that's accumulated upstream of the dam over the years. The footprint of the project, the footprint of the dam from the downstream channel to the upstream limit is about 5.6 acres. Just a little more on the dam. The dam was damaged. It's been damaged several times in its life, most recently in Tropical Storm Irene. The water overflowed the spillway and the auxiliary spillway was undermined. So if you see the concrete area where water has to flow over so the dam doesn't overtop, which is the mechanism that earthen dams fail, you'll see the concrete is cracked and buckled. So there's really no mechanism for a high flow event to discharge out of the dam safely now. For this reason, Vermont Dam Safety, after the 2011 floods, asked the town of Springfield, to lower the water level. And the water level's been low now on and off for since 2011, so 15 years-ish, and now sits in a very lowered state. Disrepairing dams are a big public safety hazard. The reason this dam is a significant hazard is because the culvert under Reservoir Road could be prone to damage. The road could be prone to damage if this whole dam were to fill up somehow and fail. It's unlikely right now it would fill up, but if that outlet pipe that water's rushing through right now were to clog in a big flood, this dam would become really unsafe and dangerous. So it's probably, as Chris said, that's the primary mechanism, public safety, to remove this dam. And then there's an ecological restoration component. There are two brooks that feed the reservoir. They've had a variety of names, and one of the landowners spoke that one of the dams is called, one of the tributaries, excuse me.
Hold on a second, wait.
You had cut out, you said there were two brooks, but then.
Yeah.
Two from.
So if you're standing on the dam looking upstream, on the left or the westernmost side, there's Peabody Brook, and on the right there's Aldrich Brook. And these two tributaries come together under, like, where the impounded water was, and form Boynton Brook, which flows under Reservoir Road and into the Black River.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to give you like a lay of the land. Did you hear that okay?
Yes, thank you.
And we've done some assessment of the river channels. And these channels that come in are small. The width of them ranges for Peabody Brook, I'd say around 7 or 8 feet is the bank full width of the channel. And for the larger Aldrich Brook, to the east, that's about a 15 to 20 foot channel. The idea of dam removal that's becoming more common in the state is to essentially remove the infrastructure completely and reconnect the channel so water will not build up behind these unsafe dams and then cause a public safety hazard. There's also improvements to fish passage and water quality through the removal of a lot of sediment that's built up behind these dams. So a combination ecological restoration and a public safety project. Maybe I'll pause there. That I threw a lot of information out. Those are kind of like the highlights of the dam removal project proposed.
What's the status? Talk to us about where the project stands now in terms of funding and contractors and schedule.
Yeah, so the project is fully funded through the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. The contractor has been selected, lined up, and we have all of our permits except this local conditional use decision. And assuming all goes well with that, we should be set to go this summer during lower flow conditions.
And Chris, if I could add, the funding was the reason we didn't move forward with the project earlier. So I just wanted to mention that because we, as Ryan said, this permit lapsed. We did several administrative updates, and we have 2 additional permits than the items submitted. One is a Vermont dam order, it's called. That's issued by the Vermont Dam Safety Section. Anytime an alteration is made, either an improvement, a repair, or a removal of a dam, you need a permit from the state, and that permit was administratively renewed. And then we also hold a construction general stormwater permit for erosion controls that are shown on the plan, the notes, and whatnot. So 2 additional permits are in place. You had asked, where is all that material going? The contractor has several options in mind. Several people have reached out to them for fill. The sediment in the impoundment is clean and fine grained sediment, and a landowner has reached out for some fill. So the contractor is in the process of identifying fill disposal sites. We've asked both Springfield and Weathersfield if they desire any of the materials. And we're sort of working through that process now, along with the contractor. Once he selects sites that are efficient for him to utilize, we'll assist with approvals through both the Army Corps of Engineers and the state to make sure those meet the requirements for fill disposal locations.
But you don't know where, and you don't have a single spot picked out? And you said some of it's clean, some of it, does that mean some of it's not?
Well, the
We-
sediment, we
no,
tested
no.
the sediment in the impoundment that has fine sediment, and that tested clean. And then the earth and fill in the dam was tested, and that was clean. And then there's going to be concrete as well. The contractor from Hilltop Construction has 3 sites going right now with different landowners where they're mostly storage areas or old gravel pits where filling has been desired, and he's been working out agreements with those trying to seek agreements. So that's a work in progress that we'll know any day now.
So here's my thought, and everybody can tell me what they think. We have a existing decision. We have, as part of that, we had conditions that we wanted to see. And we have this request, what see as an extension, but we also have these sort of other requests that we might want to look at in terms of how they affect the first decision, those conditions. So my thought is, if everybody's game, I'd like to limit our discussions for this hearing to continue each of the items from after our decision. So I'd like to look at the conclusions of that decision and see if you guys can give us an answer to each one of those, and then we can talk about which ones are changing. And hopefully we can limit those changes enough so that we're just amending the existing decision. Because what I don't want to do is go back and start the site plan review again. But there comes a certain point where you change enough and we really need to. But my thought is for tonight, the way I would go about it would be just to look at the decision we already have and go through it, because the new correspondence that we have from you is we want to change the end date. And we want to maybe have you consider some changes to the conditions. So for my part, I'd like to just go through those conditions and we'll just go one at a time and see what everyone's thoughts are. Is that okay? For Ryan, do you think that process will work?
I think that makes sense, yes.
Yeah.
Brian, would it be possible to print page 101 and 102 for me? Because I was struggling with this one, because that's I think, 10, just that, the decision portion,
Yeah.
just so I can like have the hard copy, because I'm like trying to flip back and forth and make it really easy.
Anybody else want?
Yeah, you want to print out a couple?
I just, for me, it's.
You said there were pages 101 and 102?
1 and 103, I think it's on those last.
See where we have the conditions. C1 through C13.
Page 101 through.
I gotta do it on the same page.
Yeah, 101 to 103. I could have linked to the printer. I didn't know you need a password.
Well, I can't link this one to the printer either.
But never mind. Probably need a degree in IT person to get that set up. I'm sorry, I just want to be able to go quickly through it, just because I know you've been waiting a long time. That way I'm not
Yeah.
shuffling back and forth.
Yeah.
The 101 and to 103, if that's the one that you just sent us today.
Okay, 101.
While he's printing that, and have you guys seen this, the traffic control
Yeah,
plan?
yeah.
You have seen? it?
I saw that today when we updated the
Okay,
thing, so I read that earlier today,
so,
but not the other.
okay. The loaded truck types. So, you've got maybe 1,800 loaded trucks, 20 cubic yards per truck. I'm missing are they like special trucks or they're triaxles? Are these trucks doing 20 cubic yards each?
That's our assumption, I think, right, Roy?
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't it more like
that's,
14? I'm just asking.
yeah, we get kind of a range depending on the material and the contractor, so our kind of going is like 15 to 20, and they're likely going to be standard triaxle trucks.
Okay. And just while we're on, so the reason we were concerned is because we got a couple thousand trucks. And we wanted to make sure we knew where they were headed. Maybe not their ultimate destination, but through Weathersfield. So we sort of covered that in this. And then I don't see on here, do you have anything describing, does the contractor have in their contract, do they have limitations on the equipment that they can use for these trucks? That is,
You know, in terms of the big pumpkin heavy equipment.
that's what I'm talking about, earth moving dump trucks, like,
Yeah.
because we had them in Weathersfield, because we have a pit. And they sort of destroy the road,
Yeah,
and it's okay in an emergency. This isn't an emergency.
right.
So that's one of the things we'll talk about, and you guys think about, do you have anything in there that says you can use dump trucks, but not specialized?
You know, there is nothing in it's our assumption and our understanding that he's not using any specialized large scale equipment. We can amend the contract to include such a provision if it would make the CFP more comfortable.
I mean, the state doesn't allow off-road vehicles onto state roads, and our presumption is it's probably going to hit a state road moving material. So I will say we've done a lot of dam removals, and like, unless somebody's come to us and specifically asked to use an off-road haul unit, it's been all on-road trucks. And the other thing I might just add is there's a provision that is in the plans that any damage to any road has to be restored by the contractor as part of the project.
Okay, so let's just go through these conditions. The applicant, now just for the board members who haven't been here before, these conditions were, after we reviewed these exhibits and those 1 through 18. So we've been through, I think, a pretty good review. Condition 1 is just, we had draft plans and we wanted to make sure that nothing was changing. So now, I think condition 1, you have submitted, issued for constructions or final design plans, right?
Correct. And very minor changes have been made to the plans that came out of our permit process. One of them is a call out on a property line that we learned crosses the channel. And the other one was a comment by the wetlands group requesting some more information on stabilization features in the channel post dam removal. But the large footprint of the project and the volumes and the removal is all the same from our original application in the final plans.
So you could, as a courtesy, when construction starts, you could get Ryan the latest plan if we needed it.
I believe the latest plan is the one that we submitted that says final, that had the changes that Roy just noted.
Okay.
It has a, yep, Brian's got it.
And that's exhibit 24.
Did you say 24? Okay, yeah, we're definitely getting there. Okay, so condition 2, we wanted the wetlands division to weigh in about the permit. And we have that, it's provided here. That one is her letter, it's exhibit 29 from Rebecca Chalmers. Three.
Was did we put the permission to use the 49? Oh. For me.
Let me get there. So condition 1 is satisfied by exhibit 24. Condition 2 for the wetlands letter, that was exhibit 29. Work on abutting parcels. We have, it's your conclusion now that you only have to go on one, across one abutting parcel?
Yeah, we limited the footprint of the project to avoid a couple other private properties.
So there's just one.
Just the one
One remains, that's Phelps.
spell.
And that's exhibit 31.
That's one that's not.
Yeah, okay, so exhibit 31. Dear Dwight Phelps, thank you for partnering with us to facilitate the removal of the obsolete Springfield Reservoir Dam next to your property in Weathersfield. Your participation is an important contribution to promoting local public safety and improving rivers. This agreement allows Hilltop Construction, the contractor, SLR Consulting, the project engineer, and the Mount Ascutney Regional Commission, the project manager, and the town of Springfield to access 2 locations on your property at the northern edge of the Springfield Reservoir Dam embankment and the downstream channel near the structure during the dam removal and during subsequent monitoring visits. It describes some of the work. We understand that you will not grant access to the downstream culvert remains in Boynton Brook using your land. This project task will be completed using another access. Site access is requested for the 2026 construction season. It's 3 months. They want to visit for monitoring And they are thinking maybe monitoring for 5 years. We will stake out, I mean. We'll stake out the property lines. You can see them. Please sign below if you agree, and Dwight signed it on May 3rd. With this, my only question is, what, he doesn't want you to go and take out the old culvert?
My understanding is no, Roy spoke to him directly. Do you want to speak to that, Roy?
Sure. I guess Dwight had some concerns of, we showed traveling down the north side of the river to reach that culvert, and he said he preferred we didn't do that. He was concerned about damage to the Woods Road, even though we were going to recover it. So, given that and the condition in your permit, we decided to not do this piece of the project, work on that stone culvert. And just so you know, it's partially failed right now, more than when we started doing this work. And I wouldn't say it's fully obstructing the channel, but it's partially obstructing the channel. It's a stone box composed of river rock. And the reason we wanted to remove it was just to have kind of efficient flow straight down the channel, around the corner and towards the culvert. There's actually a second trench, like a small trench that's clogged and damaged downstream from the kind of the 23 and 24 high water events. So our thought is to postpone, and maybe there's a better access from a different landowner downstream, and we would maybe consider that in the future. Otherwise, we would just let it ride, and the river will kind of take care of it itself. And there's no harm to anyone to leaving that, so we figured we would just let it go. We thought it would be efficient to do it while we had equipment out there, to open up the flow in the channel, but
That gets us to the C4. So we had identified 2 things that we were unsure of. One was the archaeologically sensitive area, what even that was. And if we didn't know what it was, we didn't want to have a disturbance in that area. And the other was this stone culvert. Is it archaeologically sensitive? That is, do we need to preserve it? And when writing this decision, we came to the conclusion of just either teach us about those so we know that they're protected, or don't disturb them. Those were the choices then. So I see on your plan now, you've identified the archaeologically sensitive area as one not to disturb. That satisfies that. And then we have this stone culvert. What do we do with it? And if I'm correct in understanding your current plan, the current plan is to do nothing. But your archaeological study that you have doesn't, I read through the one that's in the exhibit. It doesn't come to any conclusion about the dam itself, and it doesn't come to any conclusion about this culvert. So it's still an unknown in my mind. Are you just want to let the river have at it for now, or do you want us to plan for you to have it, to remove it?
I think the plan as of right now is to leave it alone, the culvert. Right?
yeah, I mean, given our conversation with Dwight Phelps and him preferring us not to take, an excavator and travel down his land to that culvert, it would be really hard for a contractor to get there as part of this project. And we were doing it almost out of efficiency to keep the river flowing, since we'll be working not too far upstream there. So that said, we just decided not to work on the culvert. And I just want a clarification. The dam and its footprint were part of the archaeological resource study, and they were deemed not to have significant artifacts because there's a concrete wall and fill in that area. And you see the footprint of the sensitive areas adjacent to the river on the, I believe it's the southeast side of the access that we were told to avoid. That's a sensitive archaeological zone.
Okay, is that You alluded to before that there were more archaeological things that you didn't include.
Believe so.
I think in one of the letters I read, it said we have archaeological exhibits, but they're too much for the file or something.
Oh,
But did they end up in here?
did they, Ronnie?
I don't know what you're referring to.
So there was a,
It's like a 56-page archaeological study. That's what's in
Too big to email.
Yeah.
Well, that was the entire package together. That was too big.
Okay.
So, well, and so I ended up, that's why it's a OneDrive instead of a PDF. That's all that was.
but I do remember what you guys are talking about. There was something that I tried to transmit that was too large, and I think I said I could bring over a hard copy or something.
Historical analysis of,
At the previous hearing,
No, but this is probably, I don't know, a few months ago.
yeah, it was.
that's something that you had a conversation with Todd?
It's a letter, it's just one of these, it's in there, it's one of their letters. it's 22 or 20, it's 22, I think.
I understood it as referencing the historic area of what they outlined, but I
I
didn't,
think,
that's what I understood. It was just giving the background, So, but I don't know.
I know that culvert really well down, that one deteriorating, it's in rough shape. I lived on,
the stone culvert,
yeah, I lived on Butterfield Hill for 10 years, and I used to spend a lot of time hiking up through that brook, all the way up to that dam. And
Oh, yeah.
that is in rough shape there. I'm surprised he doesn't want you to do anything with it.
There's two of them on the Woods Road. The downstream one has pretty much been destroyed by the flood. The upstream one, partially there. It's more of collapsed, and I mean, it's Riverstone, so the Riverstone will just get scattered in the next big flood. It's okay to leave it, honestly.
yeah, this is from you, Chris, and a message to Ryan. It says a historic resource documentation package was completed. See attached. The resource assessment was revised and a supplemental ARA was completed in January 2024. Both ARA reports are too large to send by email. And I have to drop hard copies. And when I read through this archaeological packet, I looked for the stone culvert and I didn't see it in there, so I,
Because it's in the ARA.
okay. And then when I read this, I didn't come to a conclusion from reading this, like, this almost made me think that we wanted to save the whole thing. It sort of talks about how important it is, but maybe I'm just missing the part where it says,
You're talking about the dam itself?
I'm talking about exhibit 25. This is,
But you're saying you read something and it read as if it wanted to save the whole thing. Are you referring to the dam?
exhibit 25 is this is the historic resource documentation package. It's Harkin,
Yes.
and it sort of talks about how, and I'm just paraphrasing because I don't know the document well enough. That's why I'm asking you guys. As I read through it, it seemed like it found all of those things pretty important to the history and all that. And I didn't come to the point in it, maybe you guys could fill me in, where it says, all that being said, I'm good with you guys knocking it down.
No, nobody is trying to restrict the removal of the dam for historic preservation purposes. That's nobody's doing. This is not a battle with the state historic preservation.
Okay. Because it was a neat read, but then when
Yeah.
he was saying that there was the conclusion that it wasn't sensitive, I didn't get that from this.
I think, so that document went to the State Historic Preservation Office as well as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And in the ARA, there are, they call them treatment measures And it's in condition 1, on the Army Corps permit. And it says the supplemental area results in finding, adverse effect on historic properties, and like, so there's mitigation measures that are required as part of the project to offset the loss of a historic resource. And typically those include photo documentation, as the dam's getting removed, as well as possibly signage, to talk about the history of the structure. So those are, oops, I think I just froze. So those are noted in the ARA. I guess we'll have to send you that, but also in the core permit.
And then that we don't have.
We do have a memorandum of understanding with certain conditions, so we've got to do like a historic sort of exhibit at the Springfield Historical Society. And part of it was the historic resource documentation, so they wanted to take some photos during construction and plug them into that report. And those are the quote unquote treatment measures Roy's referring to.
So I'm gonna keep going. We had, I think, this is a good one to cover. We had, we were looking for a habitat restoration plan, and this is just my summary recollection at the time, was there was a lot of public interest in what happens to this landscape next. What is the plan for the restoration of the site? And we didn't have a plan put together for that at that time. And the development review board thought, well, it seems important to the residents, people who showed up, and to the Conservation Commission also gave us a report and asked that the applicant provide certain things. And so we just wrote them down as they were asked as this condition. And I don't, this is one that you thought maybe we should do away with.
Well, the planting stuff and the invasive species management, that's fine. We can do a plan, we can get in there and plant it. One concern I did have about this as written. The plan is to be initiated as soon as the removal phase is complete. What does that mean? Does that mean the plan, we're to begin preparing the plan, or we're to go in there and stick trees and shrubs in the ground as soon as the project's complete?
I think it would be better, to say implementation of the plan is to be started as soon as the removal phase is complete. What the concern there is just, I have this plan for restoring the site. The contractor's done, they leave, and then someone comes along and says, hey, we have this restoration plan. This was trying to say, it should be included in the construction.
So generally speaking, we do not have the earthwork contractor who does the removal also do the post-construction plantings. Those are generally better handled by nonprofits and small planting groups, Northwood Stewardship Center, people like that. The big heavy duty earthwork contractors generally don't do a good job with it, and they're very expensive. So we would usually contract that out to another contractor. The concern that I want to defer to the engineer because I'm a planner, but part of this project, as with many dam removals, is that the channel's going to meander and shift over time as it reestablishes an equilibrium condition. So if we run in there as soon as the project's done and start planting, we don't know where that channel's going to go, the floodplain, the channel, everything's going to shift and adjust, especially in those first couple of years. So I don't know, Roy, if you want to improve upon what I just said, but in terms of timing, the language there is a little concerning.
Chris, I think the thing I would add is, well, first off, we just, even since that application, we have a lot more experience in dam removals and stabilizing the sites. So, we typically ask the contractors to plant every bit of disturbed soil with the appropriate seed type. So the area adjacent to the stream would have a native wet meadow seed mix that grows along small streams. And then the areas upland would have some conservation mix. And maybe on the slopes, there's like a wildflower mix, and that information is on the plans. So from a site stabilization, you stabilize the superficial soils. As Chris said, the stream adjusts a little bit, and then you start the woody planting program if it's appropriate for that kind of channel, which it is here, the following year. We have a commitment from the Connecticut River Conservancy to do a spring planting of native species, similar to a project they've just implemented in Springfield, not far from here. And so they'll have the appropriate species for the appropriate locations that we want to stabilize. And as the river's adjusting, then we can not lose any of the plants we just put in. We'll just put the plants next to the channel as it stabilizes. And then, as Chris said, that's kind of the typical way we've stabilized this approach. It's a little different for a project that's outside of the river, where you don't expect the river to move around as part of the adjustment process. So I guess maybe I'll leave it there for now and see if there are other questions on this one.
I think for my part, you've just sort of narrated the thing that we didn't have before. But that there's a lot of, you could put together a plan that would describe that as you just did.
Okay.
It would help to identify what the plan is, when it's going to be implemented, what the time frame is. And people like planners and people on boards, we understand when you put a sentence in there that says, we're not going to plant trees for 2 years because we want the stream to find its course. So that's just a sentence in there. That's how you convey to the board what your restoration plan is. So I think we know what to do here, but I don't have an exhibit that does that yet. That's not true for the construction, the initial site restoration and the construction stormwater permit. Those are going to take care of that immediate site stabilization. That's not what this criteria is not talking about that. The abutters and the Conservation Commission were concerned with the plan, other than we're gonna stabilize those slopes and let nature take its course. That's what sort of what we wanted to avoid, because that can look really bad for a really long time if that's the approach. So somewhere between the construction stabilization plan and a full plan where you identify a retreat, because we don't need to know that.
Yeah.
We need to know what the plan is. I think that's just my,
And if I can add to that.
Yeah.
Is the weather, what are the weather impacts and how do you mitigate that? We just had an incredible drought. So that could kill all that seed and that potential growth. Do you have a secondary plan where you go in there and everything's just dead? And it's not, do you know what I'm saying? Is there?
Of course.
Because I know we're having washouts because we had a drought and you put new seed down and it did not take. Is there a backup plan? I'm just wondering what that looks like, generally, just because of the weather changes that.
are you talking about like stabilizing the site for the first period of time, year or two, whatever, or you mean like the what I think of as the habitat restoration plan?
I think the stabilization is the most important because so we're not getting washout and we're not getting mud flowing downstream because this didn't take. And right now we have great water, but you know, we have another episode. What does that look like in your plan? Or is it, hey, we put seed down, good luck?
Right.
So I'm just curious as to, you know, what that looks like.
Right, can you explain to Andrea what the construction stormwater permit requires
Yeah,
and,
thank you. That would be great.
and how you do manage
Sure.
temporary
Thank you.
stabilization?
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, so I'll do that question and then I'll talk a little more about, there is a operation and maintenance and monitoring requirement as part of some of our permits. So I'll mention that too, which we'll address that. So the construction general permit essentially requires that a project has controls or best management practices to mitigate runoff across a construction site, bringing turbidity into the water. So for these bigger projects, we do things like the contractor may do a little bit of pumping and they'll have to put the dirty pump water into a straw bale container, essentially let it filter through that and discharge clean water. There'll be likely areas where we're going to run silt fence, anywhere there's a stockpile, where a contractor decides to put stone or sediment to dry it out, it's got to be surrounded by silt fence. And then there's typically a series of gravel filter berms in the channel on the downstream side to catch sediment that might move through the construction site, because you're digging around the water, but if you can, as long as you can limit the offsite migration of the really dirty water for a long period of time, that's the goal for that. So that's all regulated and dictated in the low risk site management handbook by Vermont DEC through our construction general permit. And part of that is they have requirements for the restoration of vegetation and the 50-foot buffer around wetlands and waterways. So that's a requirement to close out that permit. In addition, the Army Corps requires some monitoring, and Vermont DEC will require monitoring, and those requirements generally include a 70 to 80% coverage, superficial coverage of vegetation in year one. And if it's not vegetated, the contractor will pass that along to the contractor and they'll have to come back in and oversee those areas. It's really common because, like you said, you see it in mulch a whole area, you could get a drought or you could get a flood, and then you have some erosion spots. If we do monitoring and all of a sudden there's an erosion hotspot, you know, we have to go back in and mitigate it if it's bad enough, leading to chronic turbidity. So the monitoring through the state and the federal government sort of, I would say, safeguard the health of the site in the long term. Like you have to leave the site in a stable condition as part of your permit obligations for this work.
Thank you for.
And there are times when you have to water. I mean, you have to water the seed.
That's right.
So if there was the biggest drought this summer that we had ever seen, the contractor has to establish vegetation.
That was my question at 78%, so that's great.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd add is we typically seed mixtures that include fast growing annuals like winter rye, and then native perennials that often require a year or two to get going. So we have to achieve that coverage on an annual basis. So and the plants germinate at different rates depending on the environment. And you know, it's hard to water a giant site like this. So we kind of are at the mercy of the growing conditions that we encounter when planting, and then we have to just meet our targets. So there are many projects where you're overseeding, or you come back in, or you know, you plant your woody stems and then you have to come back in and see how many survive and through the monitoring process and replant those. So it's a process. It's not like you come to this site, you throw your stuff and then everybody's out of there, you know. Yeah.
So when you do this, I would love to have kind of that general included, so that 1 year expectation that could turn into 2 years because that base isn't developed. Because I know we said 2 years for trees, but it's
Sure.
not necessarily 2 years, right? Because it depends on whether
It depends on
established-
meeting that 80% coverage,
Right.
and then getting the woody plants started to grow.
Yeah, so that we have realistic expectations of that.
Sure.
Um, so I think I'm gonna zip through a couple of these real quick. And then I'm gonna come back to this item, because I want to talk about the bond, but I want to make sure we have time to go through these items that I think that we have. So C6. There was an easement on the Phelps property. That's for the water supply. I don't see an exhibit where you tackle that. Do you
No,
know?
that has not been cleared. Those deeds have not been cleared. They will be. I mean, we're fine with this permit condition as presented, and we'll make sure that the town of Springfield works with their attorney to clear those deeds.
I think for the traffic, I just glanced through the traffic control plan. I don't have any comment other than the vehicle, assuring that the vehicle size doesn't exceed that for regular legal truck traffic.
Yeah.
That's already in here. Condition 8. Army Corps of Engineers permit is exhibit 30, am I correct? You now have your Army Corps permit?
That's correct.
30. Condition 9 is the date. Do you think 1 year is sufficient? October 1st? Of 2026, is that gonna cut it, or should we do 2027 in case?
There's a possibility that the FEMA grant could be extended through 27, so if it's all the same to you, it might be good to do 27, just to make sure we don't have to do this again. But 26, I fully expect it.
It is, for me, it's all the same to me. So unless anybody, I mean, we'll talk about it, but that's why I ask. I would just
Yeah.
add another year, because
Yeah.
if the contractor gets busy or hurt or something, the other conditions aren't changing. So, I think the last item for me is the performance.
Can I ask the applicant a question? Or do I need to wait?
Give me one more minute. I'm gonna get to you.
Okay.
The performance bond, you've elaborated more on the restoration plan. But what the town is concerned with is this is a big site. A lot of stuff's gonna happen out there, and contractors have been known to leave sites rougher than we would have hoped and leave the site. The concern on the part of the DRB and the residents and the Conservation Commission was that because we didn't have a plan, we didn't know, we wanted to make sure there were resources available to call upon if we needed to do this restoration of the site. And that's why the bond showed up, a lack of a plan. And also the concern that was expressed. So, do you want to maybe describe, let us know what the impact of the requirement for the bond is?
Well, asking the town of Springfield to hold $100,000 in escrow for 10 years is a tremendous ask. Unprecedented. This is a public entity using federal grant funds to implement a public safety project. They are not a developer. And furthermore, I believe that condition is prevented as illegal for numerous reasons. So, you're limited by state statute. You can't do a performance bond for 10 years. I don't believe you can place a performance bond on a community-owned facility. And I think $100,000 is arbitrary and capricious.
You don't think that's gonna be $100,000 worth of work
For a site planting,
for the restoration of that site?
for the plan,
Everything that's included in the restoration plan that we do not have yet.
I don't understand your statement. Or your question.
The question was from the moment that the main earthwork contractor leaves the site and the restoration, the habitat restoration starts, do you have an estimated cost for that work?
For repair and restoration, it's not, this whole project costs $350,000. $100,000 for repairing and planting and some invasive management is very high.
Chris, in my conversation with Connecticut River Conservancy, they were back of the envelope rough spitball $40,000 to get all the plants to reach the like a density on this site for the given size. But again, probably get a pretty good volume discount on the plantings, and so I just throw that number out there as a potential.
Anything else about the bond? Okay, so now comments from the public. We're ready.
Okay, well, my first comment on is an answer to you, that when you do a bond, you don't put aside $100,000, you go to a bondsman. So it doesn't help $100,000, it's pennies on the dollar. My big concern is that a neighbor is invasive, and I don't see a plan here for invasive control. Controlling invasives on our properties costs thousands of dollars, and I would like to see an invasive control plan. I don't see it.
There is on site, there's been identified a small patch of non-native honeysuckle that will be removed as part of the project and then monitored per
Okay,
the U.S. Army Corps permit condition.
so is that a written plan?
It's a permit condition of a federal permit, and the invasives are shown on the plans.
And then how long will you monitor that?
What's that requirement, Roy? Do you remember?
It's a 3-year monitoring period, but I believe it's spread over 5 years from the Army Corps. I'd have to double check that. It's 3 or 5 years of monitoring at a 3 rep increment.
And that's from the state, that's the
That's the federal government.
Army Corps.
federal government. The Army Corps, which has all that knotweed in the river, that one. I don't think they're real good at monitoring invasives. Do you have another plan? Because that Black River Basin where the Army Corps is nothing but knotweed.
Well, we or someone else with Chris's group, someone will have to monitor it and report back to them. So we're doing the monitoring. The other thing is, like, and we can put this in the site restoration plan. We have notes on the plans that the contractor needs to clean their equipment and, make sure they're not tracking invasives around the site. And that's kind of why we had wetlands asked us to identify the honeysuckle patch that Chris referenced on the site.
Yeah, honeysuckle's pretty easy to get rid of.
Hmm.
Not waiting so much. And when you did the restoration, where's the soil coming from? You must be putting down some topsoil? No, maybe not.
No, we're not, because there's pretty fine organic soil in the impoundment right now. So that's where a lot of the plantings will come. And then if we need more up on the slopes, we'd probably just spread a little bit of that up there for the planting.
Okay, well, thank you.
And again, I'll spell this out in our plan that
Yeah,
the town's requested.
I really appreciate that. That's a big issue for myself and the neighbors. Thank you.
Okay.
I think it's really helpful to describe what you're not gonna do, and that the fact that you're not importing any material is that's a really helpful bit of information. And because if there's only that one invasive there now, but then we ask a contractor to bring in lots of mulch and lots of organic material and lots of new topsoil, then we're we're gonna introduce items. But if
And
you
like,
take- if you
oh,
take
I'm
the-
sorry. Didn't mean to.
If you just take the spirit of the condition 5, some of the wording is not perfect. But we do sort of ask you to build in the invasive species part of that. If you
Sure.
guys would be willing to take that on, then, I think it would be helpful for us.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That condition, if we can tweak the timing language just to be a little more clear, that's fine. We can submit a plan to Ryan showing the proposed planting species and any limited invasives management.
One other component of that is like, for example, we're not allowing the contractor to use hay mulch. We're asking them to use straw mulch because the hay does come in with a lot of invasive seeds. So it's another invasive species management approach we're using on all our dam removals now.
Good idea. Okay, do you have any other
Yeah,
comments?
that
or
was my
concerns?
only question. I just didn't see the plan. So.
Do any other board members have any thoughts or concerns?
I just wanted to point out to you
Right.
that it does say specialized wide or heavy haul equipment that you so it's not allowed specifically. I know you
Yep.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Specifically mentions that.
Yep, so that condition about the overly large equipment's in there, and we're likely to keep it. Because I know. We just do not have any money. For if the road, if we're
Yeah. No, I
We just don't
totally,
have any money.
totally get that.
for
Yep,
the roads. Yep. Fixing roads.
absolutely.
There was some mention of partially filling in some wetlands. Did I recall reading that correctly?
I don't think so.
I don't, I'm just trying to think. I think one area where we will come in contact with wetlands because the dam has been leaking downstream of the concrete box. There's a wet spot that the state has deemed as a class 3 wetland, so not a class 2 like naturally connected to a river or wet source because it's a leaking dam. And we need to work in that area to create a natural connection like under the footprint of the dam. It's right at the downstream base of the dam. So that was one area where the wetlands program gave us an allowed use determination to allow us to work around that wetland. It's a pretty degraded site where there, in fact, some of this honeysuckle exists that we'll have to carefully remove and get off the site. That's the one spot I think where we'll be interacting with wetlands at the site, but we're not filling any wetlands. We're going to be creating riparian wetlands along the river channels upstream in the footprint of the impoundment.
I'm ready.
Has there been any conversation about the future of the property? You said that there's 3 to 5 years of monitoring. Does that mean the town's gonna own it for at least 3 to 5 years?
I guess that's for the legislative bodies to discuss. I recall, way back, kind of pre-pandemic, I think during the Ed Morris days, the town talked about just assuming ownership and turning it into sort of a outdoor recreation community space, but, I guess to some extent, I see that as a separate issue, and of course, if the town's on the hook for long-term monitoring, that would continue regardless of ownership, unless something were negotiated between the parties at a later date.
Rebecca in her letter talks about, that plan dated 3/20/26. She approves this restoration plan. Is there another restoration plan, or is she referring to one of these exhibits? That we
She's
have?
referring to the plans. She requested a couple edits to identify that honeysuckle patch,
Okay.
talk about its removable, and then also she requested some large wood be put in the channel, which is a natural component of streams. And you see that all up and down the brook, so there'll be a small bit of wood put in to stabilize the grade of the channel. Although we've seen pictures of the historic channel with a lot of large boulders at the base of the channel, so I think it's going to stabilize pretty quickly with all the rock that's naturally under all the silt.
We're nearing the end. Any other comments, thoughts, questions? So I would think we have two options right now. We can close the hearing and give you a decision within 45 days, or we could continue the hearing for 2 weeks or 30 days, whatever. And then the couple items that we've discussed, you could have them, give them to us, and then our decision will have everything in it. The beauty of having a complete application is we don't have conditions. More than half of these conditions are just, do you have this? We want to make sure you have this, right? And as those disappear, we end up with, you know, how I hope that all local permits are, like with very few conditions. So that would be my preferred route, would be to continue so that we can take any new exhibits that you guys give Ryan. But if you don't ever want to come back and don't ever want to see us again, then we can close the hearing.
So when we owe you a habitat restoration plan. What else?
I think in spirit, that was it.
That's the bugaboo.
See. Okay. I think condition 1 was satisfied with an exhibit. Condition 2 was satisfied with an exhibit. Condition 3 was satisfied with an exhibit. Condition 4, we clarified that you're not going to tend to the culvert. So I think that's we don't need anything else there. Condition 5, we need your exhibit in order to change anything about a bond. That's my thought. But
I don't understand, like, whether we do the plan now or in the future, how does that affect the bond? I mean, the bond is what you're trying to hold, that's what you're using to hold Springfield's feet to the fire to continue to maintain the site for years and years and years to come. You're not imposing the bond to try to get the plan out of them. You're imposing the bond for the long-term maintenance.
yeah, and here I'm not going to be able to get in everyone else's head here. But I can tell you the difference for me between the risk that I assess when there is a plan and the risk I assess when there isn't a plan. And you're seeing that, at least when I read this, that's what I see. You don't have a plan. We're worried about it. We want a bond. We want to make sure you have a bond. Does that clarify it at all?
It clarifies your thinking.
That's just my thinking. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have more insight. But it seems like a risky thing for the town of Weathersfield. Should this activity not happen to the satisfaction of all these parties? And my thought is that this condition is asking you to provide a plan. And I already said that I'd be happy to close the hearing tonight and go ahead without the plan. But my suggestion was that we allow Roy, or that it would be beneficial, I think, to the applicant to let Roy fill us in on what the plan is. So that we could use it as an exhibit that might affect the rest of conditions 5, including that bond.
That's a question, actually, Brian, you had just asked a question, it said in 3 to 5 years, we have to decide who owns the property and long-term maintenance was the comments. So if it's 3 to 5 years from development date, because this is 10 years, so I'm confused, because if Weathersfield owns the property, is then responsible for the maintenance.
No, if Weathersfield
I just
assumes,
got confused because they were
if
throwing,
Weathersfield assumes ownership of the property, that doesn't change Springfield's obligations
Gotcha.
to maintain unless there was some future negotiation. between the
unless
parties.
there's a negotiation, gotcha.
Okay, so that we were on 5 and then,
You're good.
I didn't watch.
yeah,
Try to do the meeting.
Put yourself,
Yeah, good.
most of the discussion we had about honeysuckle planting plans, descriptions, that's all in 5. The C6 was, you're working on clearing the easements on the Phelps property. If we only have that if you could provide that, if you get that in time. And then the other items, traffic, Army Corps of Engineer permit, the date, we're all settled on. So it's really only condition 5. That's it.
All right, well, keep it rolling then.
Okay. How long do we need for that? That's a question for us and for Roy.
Can get you the plan tomorrow. Be short for us, for the plan preparation. And Chris and I can work on it quickly.
So do we have this, we have potentially the 9th?
Hmm.
Is that right?
I
So that,
expect that there'll be other hearings then too.
So question, the deed, we don't have to hold the hearing open for the deed, because that could take time. If there's a condition for that, then it's just whenever they present it.
exactly. Yep, so
Whenever
that.
they present
just
the
stays
line,
the
then
condition.
you just, that, once you check it off, we don't have to hold the hearing just for you to bring that to us so we can move on. I wasn't sure if that.
Right, that was just another item that they could provide if they did, but if they don't, that condition just sits there.
Gotcha, because that might take a while, so I didn't wanna.
Yeah,
We had
no,
hold something
no
up.
sense from a time frame for that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly.
So we could do the 9th. We have meetings the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, so we could do the 9th or the 23rd. Can everybody look at their schedules and
Got
see if,
holiday or something.
I think the 9th would be better for me.
Either one will be here.
What's that?
Those are meeting days, so.
My intention was to have a hearing warrant for the 9th as well.
That's
A site plan, so
I'm
the same day.
I'm hoping that this will, like, we should be able to continue this. And it should be 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Maybe 10.
the other one I also don't think is extremely long, so
Okay.
that's not really a consideration. As much as I intended to have a meeting going on that day, so.
Okay, so does that work for you? Does that work for you? Okay, so the four of us will plan.
Continue on time, if that works
Okay.
for them.
All right, at
Did that make sense?
6:30, can we put them first on the agenda?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay. All right, so I think I wanted someone to make a motion to continue to the 9th at 6:30.
I'll make a motion to continue. Hearing number, oh my goodness. Sorry. Not the hearing number in front of me, but
That's right.
this hearing.
Yep.
To the 9th, at 6:30, we'll continue to finalize the application. Those other documents and then.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Well done. Thank you.
Thank
Roy,
you
for
very
coming.
much.
I appreciate it. Great job.
Talk soon.
Thank you.
The repeat
And,
stuff.
and yeah, you can't explain something that well and say, I'll defer to the engineer, I'm just a planner, but blah, blah,
Yeah,
and nail
that
it, you
was-
nailed it.
Yeah, that was fantastic. You answered all my questions and then I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I'm glad, and we'll shoot you a plan hug before the end of the week. And
Great.
Hopefully we can put this to bed.
All right,
All right.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye, thank you.
I'm gonna put these in order, and you don't have these either, do you?
No.
Okay, so
I
let's see,
scan them.
31,
You'll just email them to us.
makes sense.
Yeah, they just, we don't have an updated package.
So there's two. But that, you have.
Oh, yeah, do you wanna make, that's also my exhibit list.
Well, can I come and join the table?
Yes, please, come. You can sit there too.
Okay.
What do you think?
I've done most sitting in the last 2 hours and I did the rest of the day.
We did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the hardest part. Yeah, it's all sitting.
okay, so we have, the approval of the meeting minutes. I didn't,
And then I realized that they were, I saw the email right before I left that they were on the.
I'll make a motion. I definitely read them. I'll make a motion to approve them.
And I haven't read them, so I
You may want to not do it.
second it because it was a hearing.
so my suggestion, I haven't read them either.
Yeah.
If it, and they stand, they're on the website, like
Yeah.
5 minutes,
That's right.
so let's move them.
And they're long. It's not something you can read now.
6 pages.
Or-
I can read review the minutes of the next meeting on the ninth,
I think,
or last week's minutes.
yeah, if everybody's okay with that, you okay with
I'm fine with
that?
that.
Okay, yes, let's do that. I'll put that on the agenda. Items,
Sorry.
item 7, rules of procedure. I think we want to move that.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
Bedtime.
yep, so these will be future agenda items. Rules of procedure, section of personal information, site visit discussion. Do we want to have the shortest of site visit discussions right now? This is what we want Ryan to do with site visits. And I think there's sort of this slippery slope between. We don't want to, if we get a 7-lot subdivision, we're not going to be out there hiking around, but we should probably visit and get a look. The same with most of these applications where we have changes that are going to happen. I think we should do the site plan. I think we should have a site visit for most of these. And then the example I could think of where we wouldn't would be the process that we want to try and get on for simplified applications if we have them, where you're doing the bulk of that and you're saying review these 2 criteria. We haven't had an opportunity at that. The police station was close. It was close, but not close enough where we could do that. But that would be my thought. Does anybody else?
What did you lay on for subdivisions
Yes,
for before the final plat review or preliminary? No,
I would
first.
do it. I would do it.
That's-
Do we want to do a site visit before the site plan review,
Sketch plan?
sketch plan review, or do we want to do it before final plat?
It seems like it makes more sense before final plat. So you get sort of the general layout beforehand, you get the idea. And then you're doing the site visit sort of as part of the hearing.
Yeah, because the
Or
sketch
association.
plan, they may not have the boundaries exact.
Yeah, or they may never go back.
Yeah,
Which happens.
yes. That does happen a lot.
The sketch, yeah, if we were to extend ourselves and go to all the sketch plan reviews, it'd be more work for us.
Yeah.
But better for the applicant maybe, but I'm with you. I see what you're saying now is probably some of them, we would just be wasting our time.
Well, you can probably judge those, right? If they're coming in, they don't even have an application as opposed to somebody that's got the surveys that they're talking about detail. They've done their research and they have information about how they want this to look and they're having a detailed discussion about their septic and things like that. Clearly, they're moving forward. I think those are the easy button we can, because that certainly moves it forward. My only question would be, were you able to check on the notification process? Because a couple of our things say, do we have any comments from the community on the site plan review? But if it's not a hearing, there wouldn't be notification, or there wouldn't be other people unless they happen to hear it in the grapevine, because if we're not noticing or notifying people, then there wouldn't be.
For
You
sketch
see what
plan
I'm
review.
saying? Sketch.
Yeah, so we
You
say,
said the Site plan, but yes.
one of the check items, that's right, I put the words in your mouth. So on our sketch plan review, we do say, are there any comments from the public? And that maybe should be interpreted loosely, but it's not a bad idea. I mean, I almost think like if sketch plan, if my neighbor was planning something,
And if-
I think it'd be nice, it'd be better to have them at least get a notice.
And I think that there's a legal requirement, and I don't have it printed, and we need to look again. That's why we.
Mailing notices only for the public hearings.
For the,
So it might be, we need to change our form, or you want that extra job of.
Oh, I don't, no. Warning the hearings is, it's a significant process. It takes a lot of time. When I had an assistant who was doing the mailings, which was useful, but it's time consuming. So I wouldn't want to do it extra just for an informal thing that, I mean, maybe 50% of the sketch plans we've had in the last 2 years have resulted in a hearing, so.
yeah.
So my suggestion is we just have the default, if we're gonna do site plan review, we do a site visit.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do subdivision, either before
Yeah, it's still on.
before the preliminary, and if we do a preliminary plat, we do it before the preliminary. or the final.
Right, the first hearing.
First hearing.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody, and then I also would say, use your judgment too.
Well, a lot of times they're not that clean, like this is a renewal of something. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll just try and reach out
So I
to
go
them.
back to that, if we're doing a site visit and we're posting a site visit, do people then need to be notified? Or is it just the hearing portion?
They're
Because
gonna get notified,
if we do a
site visit, because that's gonna be before a hearing,
okay,
so they're gonna get a notice. We decided that we're gonna do it before the hearing, site plan or conditional use review. We're gonna do it before preliminary or final plat, and all of those are warned hearings.
mhm.
We're not gonna do it for a sketch plan.
Did you say conditional use review if there's no site plan review? I'm not sure if that's a thing. I think most site plan, well, that's not necessarily true.
No, we're just changing a use, for example,
Yeah,
so. In a,
if there's no changes to the site, you don't need to see it.
yes, you're gonna have done that.
Mhm.
You're gonna go out there, that little form says you did all that. Read it now in the context of us thinking about simplifying easy applications.
Mhm.
Go back and read that procedure, that concept, and
Okay.
see now if you get what I mean. Because we said, here's what we look at for site plan review.
Mhm.
And if you go out there and you say, you don't need to review any of these criteria, I've already checked them, there's no change, I'm sure there's no change.
I don't know if I interpret it as a site visit on my part. Like I'll review the application and I'll review the site plan, but I've never gone out to do that preliminarily.
Okay. Let's see, I think that was it. Update from land use administrator.
The town plan is going to the select board, meeting hearing to be warned, but it'll probably be the second meeting next month.
And that's all the planning commission's been working on is maps and plan.
Mhm.
Future agenda items, I think for the next meeting, we'll have, Uric first. If you have a new applicant, we'll have them second.
Mhm.
We want to keep item 6 on the agenda, the meeting minutes, we need to still do that. 7, the rules of procedure, just like it is, we want to do that. 8, we want to keep on the agenda. 9, we're finished with, so that's done. And then just keep the same.
On the minutes, since I'm not sending out packets, do you want that to be part of the system? You'll just check. When I send the agenda, it's the same link that'll take you to the agenda as the minutes, basically, the DRB page. Or do you want, they had been sent out by
Oh, yeah.
Diana when she completed them, which was not necessarily right before the meeting. How do you want to develop that process?
It has been more successful.
Yeah.
It has been more successful when they're in the packet for the night.
Okay, but we're not gonna do meeting packets necessarily. Like tonight, I just sent out the 2 hearing packets, which is where that fell through. The meeting packet would then be the agenda minutes, I guess.
Yeah, when you send out the packet.
Send out the minutes.
Send
with
out the
all
minutes
that
from the
stuff.
previous,
Okay.
then everything's
The
sent
agenda.
out.
So for me, and then all the thank you emails and then the discussion emails, when I went right back to it and put in land use and there were like 30, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then I'm searching through. So for me, it was really frustrating. And then there was like a further meeting down that said the minutes are here. So, and then I have to click on this and click on that. So for me, it was just, because you're trying to get in there, I have 2 hours. Everybody's away, so let me do this. And then I'm searching for things. So because I was just used to the process. So for
Yeah.
me, it just felt more difficult.
So I'll do
to
a
have to
meeting
navigate.
packet without the hearing information. Those will be separate packets.
What do you guys think
What?
about what
Wait,
Grace had
what?
mentioned?
What did you say?
I would do a meeting packet without the hearing packets. The meeting packet would be,
Everything.
well, because that was the whole issue about getting personal information out there, that
But if
the,
you email it to us, we're the only ones seeing it.
Wait,
Or, if there-
okay,
What?
okay.
What, I was
why
gonna,
can't we use SharePoint?
thank you, or a Dropbox or something.
It's already there.
Mhm.
We're already paying for it.
Yeah.
There's no extra cost. Set up a SharePoint site for the DRB. And just put everything there. We can go in and get it, and download it. It's all in one place. And then there's a historical record of it as well.
And if there's changes, you can just shoot us an email, or I don't know if it gives you a notice that there's an updated file.
I think you can, I don't know about SharePoint.
Well, if
Yeah.
you're doing, a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. And as track changes on, then yeah, you'll get notifications.
Yeah,
If
so
someone makes a comment.
Is it, are you familiar with that
A
program?
little bit.
Do you think, is that something that you could set a little bit of time aside?
Yeah.
And get together with Ryan and make sure that he feels comfortable with where to put it and how to link our emails to that?
Yeah, it's just a matter of giving specific individuals email addresses access to that site.
Is it like Google Drive? Or,
Yeah, the same basic concept,
yeah, same thing.
it's restricted access
Yeah,
and you
you can be an
you
administrator.
control
or-
who has access. You're the administrator of it. And you just add or remove people.
So in that case, if we were doing that, would you want it compiled into a packet, or would you just like the individual documents numbered like exhibits?
I mean, it would be just as easy, because if you have a folder, this is the hearing date, here's all the information. So if we go back later, we have the hearing dates that we can jump into as opposed to a list.
Yeah, and.
So
the
same
individual
thing that we're doing
documents.
now, but there's the whatever 529 hearing, and then you go into that file and it's got the agenda, all of the notes, so that like when we're doing deliberation, because with you don't print anything, right? I don't know if you download anything, but then you could just click in there during deliberation and it's all right there.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't print.
And,
I
the
don't
only
want to, but then I
thing
do.
to, on the decisions,
Right,
could be Word document with track changes in SharePoint.
yeah,
And we can go in, make edits, enter comments. It's just a collaborative effort, which is what it is now, but it's very cumbersome. And that doesn't mean we still can't physically get together to
Yeah,
finalize it.
I think we should get together.
Yeah.
for sure.
But,
Sure.
but all the back and forth that way is asynchronous.
Mhm.
So as we have time, we can go in, we can see
Mhm.
what other people.
I would like that, especially for the deliberation. I find those
Yeah.
email exchanges very frustrating.
It is, especially because I look and I'm like, oh man, because then I get other emails and I don't catch that
So you
email and it's like a day later and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Sign that. And right now, there's two sort of, me not knowing how it's organized. There's two ways it could be where you have the individual items listed and then Ryan could say, oh, additionally, exhibit
Yeah.
19, 20, right? Where there's 8 or 9 things that we have to download. Be even nicer if we had that in the, current information. So you click that once and those things are in there and he could just dump things into that one. But I don't know if they have to get.
Well, with SharePoint, if you've got like 8 or 10 or 12 documents in a folder, you just click to download them all, it downloads them in a zip file.
Yep.
Okay.
So you have all those files in one. You download, they're still individual
So
files.
he doesn't have to make us a packet.
Right.
He can just put individual ones in there and we can grab them.
And you can add or modify things individually, very easy.
And I'll just, for security's sake, we all should, because it's a judicial hearing, we should all have, town email addresses that's associated to, that's separate.
I don't disagree with
Yeah,
that.
when Joyce, or, I'm sorry.
You're gonna figure that out.
Well, we've been brought up before and they were talking about the cost was real high to have that. I don't know what the truth is about any of it, but that was the explanation. that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
got.
different levels. You have so many
Yeah.
with the.
Yeah, but usually they're like up to 100, then 100 to 200 or 500.
Let's just start talking to the support team that manages Suzanne,
Mhm.
I started talking with her about, I said, no, I don't know anything about this, it's just money.
Mhm.
And she
Yeah.
didn't want to get involved, and I don't blame her,
Mhm.
it's not really her job. But between the two of us, we figure out what we want to do, reach out to the people that are managing it for us,
Mhm.
and figure out what makes the most sense.
Yeah, like my website, it's the initial one is 100 email
Yeah.
accounts. And
Yeah.
so
I like that idea, but
it's just for
like,
viruses and all of that.
Yeah.
And-
First, just find out what is our license.
Mhm.
so,
And that would alleviate Grace's concerns too, and our security.
Yep.
Issues, if somebody needs the packet, I don't know, we look at how they can get access if we like link the the applicants so that they can see their, I don't even know if they need to, but if somebody comes in wanting the packet, do you see what I'm saying? If somebody comes in
Well,
and wants to be.
somebody, yeah, how do we handle somebody public
Mhm.
playing me earlier? How do I have access to the packet other than asking, coming in ahead of time, asking the town to print it out, 180 pages? No.
It could be the email.
No, I'm sorry.
We can email Ryan as a PDF. If you're an interested person, you can contact.
Yeah,
Land administrator and you can.
exactly. So we need a solution for
Yeah,
that. I
that's
mean,
like the easy button.
it's silly to print out 180
Yeah.
pages. Sorry. Whoever does that, sorry.
No,
Well, this one would have been what, 400 and we're
Yeah.
reading the paper just for today.
It's not the paper, it's me.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's.
Sounds good.
All right, let's go home.
all right,
Wait,
so we adjourn.
No different.
You want to see to adjourn?
You adjourn.
All right.
There you go.
Thanks for your help. What do you think?
Hold on,
Was it exciting?